Open drug taking and dealing in broad daylight, a rat infestation, piles of rubbish lying on the streets, and a homeless crisis that's spiralling out of control. It's scenes like these in Glasgow that have many questioning why the Commonwealth Games is coming to the city when it's in such a state.
Drug dealing is no longer occurring in back streets and lanes and dark corners. It's becoming more open.
There's been a 91% rise. So drug deaths have actually almost doubled since 2014. So yeah, we're still repeating the same mistakes over and over again.
I despair. I'm born and bred in Glasgow and I've never seen the city looking so dirty and so tired. There's a rat infestation, the streets are absolutely filthy.
More than 3,000 athletes from 74 nations and territories will compete across 10 sports after the city stepped in as the replacement host when the Australian state Victoria paid £190.5 million to offload the responsibility due to rising costs. The 2026 Games are taking place in Glasgow from July the 23rd until the 2nd of August, but it will be a slimmed down version due to the sudden change of location. To cope with the massive demands, more than 3,000 volunteers are being recruited as organisers seek to replicate the success of the iconic Glasgow Games of 2014. But Glasgow City Council say there won't be any deep clean. But 12 years on and the problems with drugs in the city has got worse, with some on the streets branding it an epidemic. Addicts can be seen taking drugs on Union Street and other city centre areas, while dealers openly peddle their produce in broad daylight.
And also in areas like Union Street, Argyle Street, Trongate, Merchant City, areas like Glasgow Street and Brunswick Street are seeing more open air drug dealing, drug injections in stairwells, for example in Brunswick Street, So residents are quite right to be alarmed, not because it's a new problem, it's because it's happening more frequently, more open and more widespread. Workers, they work in Union Street, they see exactly what's happening outside and they say there is absolutely no way that they would come back to Union Street, and even St Enoch Square has been mentioned. It's just far too dangerous. They won't bring a family, young children into the city centre because they're too scared to do it.
And it's being claimed by one drugs charity that addicts were forced out of the city during the last Commonwealth Games in Glasgow 2014, and that the issue of rehabilitation isn't being tackled properly.
Well, what they did in 2014 was they moved the needle exchanges in particular away from the city centre, and they moved it to the outskirts of the city centre, which unfortunately meant that we saw a spike in HIV cases then come forward in 2015 because people started sharing needles again. I just hope that that doesn't happen again and that they don't, do that, because that's hugely detrimental to the people who are suffering. We've got into the habit, unfortunately, of trying to manage and control a condition that ultimately, by its very nature, is uncontrollable and unmanageable. So we're just trying to keep people alive. That's the most lofty ambition of our services. We've gave up trying to get people well and help them get off drugs. We're not doing that anymore as a service delivery point. We are just trying to manage and control people and their addiction, which is tragic. I think they'll do their best to try and hide the problem, which, it's just getting, more and more difficult. But yeah, unfortunately, I think if anybody is coming to the country, they'll see with their own eyes, how bad the problem is.
It comes as Police Scotland announced a new temporary dispersal zone in Glasgow city centre to help tackle rising antisocial behaviour, drug-related activity and intimidation. This measure, seen as a crackdown on marauding yobs in crime-plagued areas, comes just 6 months ahead of the city hosting the Commonwealth Games.
So we have had a number of targeted enforcement activities ongoing in the city centre for a number of months now. So for about 7 months we've had focused activity within the city, and what we saw was the officers were dealing with whatever was in front of them. If it was drugs, if it was with weapons, etc., using primary legislation. But what we saw was, so the individual would be arrested and dealt with appropriately, but what was left behind was residual groups of people who invariably ended up engaging in antisocial behaviour. Really important to say that it's not about the Commonwealth Games, it's not linked to the Commonwealth Games. Yeah, we've got the Commonwealth Games coming up, we've got the World Cup. Glasgow is no stranger to hosting big events. This is about Glasgow, it's about the people of Glasgow, it's about the people who live and work in Glasgow. So it really is about making the city feel safer and giving the public the reassurance that the city is a welcoming place.
More than 1,000 disorderly people have been banished from Glasgow city centre since March, as cops announced plans to continue their crackdown. But less than 4 months on, the dispersal zone has simply pushed antisocial behaviour and drug-related activity into neighbouring streets, police have admitted. Residents say Sauchiehall Street, Cambridge Street and Garnet Hill Park are now seeing a rise in disorder after the crackdown shifted problems out of the original zone. And in the heart of the dispersal zone, just weeks before the Commonwealth Games come to Glasgow, bottle-wielding thugs were filmed brawling as shocked shoppers dodged shattered glass. The chaotic scenes erupted at notorious St Enoch Square and spilled onto Argyle Street at around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The mayhem lasted for around 10 minutes before police eventually arrived on the scene in the heart of the so-called dispersal zone. And while some feel the city is dirty, dealing with antisocial behaviour and has problems with drugs and homelessness, the Scottish First Minister believes Glasgow is ready for the Games.
The timing of the Commonwealth Games is the timing of the Commonwealth Games. I think Glasgow's looking great for the Commonwealth Games.
Meanwhile, Scottish Government Health Minister Neil Gray was at an event in Glasgow at the end of January to highlight £40 million of funding to promote physical activity, and he wouldn't be drawn on the key issues affecting Glasgow ahead of the Games.
The world being Glasgow. Some people have shown lots of concern about the state Glasgow's in, that it is dirty, it is filthy, it has got a rat problem.
I think Glasgow will be ready. We've got an incredible reputation in Scotland of hosting major events, but Glasgow has a unique international reputation for hosting major events. I'm confident that we'll be able to build on that legacy of 2014 of the World Athletics Indoor Championships, the World Cycling Championships that were here, and continue to show Glasgow as being a host city for major events. And I know that the Commonwealth Games are incredibly excited about Glasgow hosting, and that only Glasgow could have stepped up the way it did in order to save the Games.
How do you address some of these issues ahead of the Commonwealth Games starting? Because as you say, the eyes of the world are going to be on the city. We've got a drug problem, we've got a homeless crisis in Glasgow as well. How do you address that ahead of the city? Because these are the things that people are going to see.
Well, obviously we work on all of those issues in the day-to-day workings of government and in our interactions with Glasgow City Council. But I'm focusing on the positive experience that I know is going to be coming to the city of Glasgow. The eyes of the world are going to be on us from a sporting perspective, and there is a strong reputation that Glasgow has for hosting incredible sporting events.
£40 million used to promote physical activity, which many feel could have been better spent helping to tackle the real issues in Scotland's largest city. Glasgow has around 13,000 hotel rooms, with 3,000 athletes set to descend in the city, along with support staff and spectators, sparking a scramble for rooms in an already struggling system, with rooms feared at around £1,000 a night during the Games. At present, there are 700 new homeless applications a month, and bosses fear those waiting for help could be left sleeping on the street or bused to other areas as the crisis, which cost the city's Health and Social Care Partnership £2.8 million a month, spirals. Charities are calling on the Scottish Government to step in with extra funding to prevent a disaster and put people before profits, while figures from the National Records of Scotland reveal there are 4 homeless deaths a week in the country. So little wonder those who find themselves on the streets say the Games won't make any difference to them.
It doesn't affect me.
It doesn't do anything for you?
No, it does nothing at all. And now you find out about the money they're spending, it could be better spent in accommodation and stuff like that. But I don't think we'll get the help with it. I don't. I just think it's the same old, just the builds Glasgow's profile for tourism and all that, but it doesn't for local people, it's nothing.
As if the problems with drugs and the issues for homeless people weren't enough, Glasgow City Council say there won't be any deep clean of the city, despite many complaining it's a mess and overrun with rats.
But just look at the state of the city. The SNP should be absolutely ashamed. Maybe John Swinney should come up with some new events for the Games, clean the streets, fix the potholes, maybe catch some rats. The city is a disgrace. It's embarrassing that visitors will be coming here in the city looking the way that it does. The city looks tired. It's deterring visitors, it's deterring people from wanting to live and invest here. And really, the thought of a flagship sporting event coming to Glasgow when it looks like this isn't good enough. You can clean the city up, that should be happening anyway. We don't want a lick of paint, we don't want clean streets, we don't want the potholes filled in just because there's games here. That's what the city should look like anyway. This is Scotland's biggest city.
I've never seen anything like it. I've been very vocal about this. I called for a rat emergency. What I will say to Commonwealth Games is we can put another event in called the rat race, because that's how bad this city has become. You know what I mean? I want people to come here, sit, join the nice cafes, join the nice bars. But I don't want to see somebody getting chased with a rat down the streets. That's how bad the city has become, and really it's becoming an epidemic now, proportions that I've never seen.
Social housing is going in, oh, we'll do this, we'll do that. They do nothing. They're supposed to take over the rat-infested place down there. It's a maternity unit for the rats, basically.
Some places, like the Healing Man's Umbrella at Central Station, are run down, and many say it's a no-go area at night. So, given the drug problems, homelessness crisis and the state of the city, should Glasgow be hosting the Commonwealth Games?
Glasgow's the best anybody could ever ask for, really. Great city, great people. I do miss it because I don't live here anymore, but I think it'll be a brilliant addition.
I think I can see both. I think it's good to have the games here because everybody likes games, but I think, you know, there's money spent that could be better used towards the homelessness. I mean, like, I won't go into statistics, but I think for me personally, I think that, you know, we're wasting money in frivolous things.
I actually think it's really good because I feel like the culture of Glasgow is like really good and welcoming to like people coming in.
I think it's outrageous. I really do, you know. This street in particular, when people are scared to come through their own street, you know what I mean? I don't think that's right at all, you know. They don't come through here and see the Amos tented up there, you know. I know it's going to be a less than Commonwealth Games anyway, you know, but no, I don't think Scotland's, Glasgow's in particular, is ready to do that, you know.